Hi guys, thank you very much for coming back to my studio. In this video, I like to share with you how to draw the traditional Japanese architecture, well, based on the traditional Japanese architecture. And this is about, again, it's about drawing the perspective without the vanishing points, but more of the exploring and to understand the basics of Japanese traditional architecture in terms of material properties, component structure, and using geometry and lines to achieve these perspective drawings, and also to understand the how the structure work and how the roofing works and the timber cladding and timber framing, um, to form such a more of a functional building, a traditional building in the olden days. And of course, like we have said, we heard before, to build the future, we must understand the past. At the same time, building the present also for the future purpose. So I kind of like that quote, phrases, words, which I think is quite wise and makes sense. So yeah, and I hope you enjoy these drawings and do watch to the end. And thank you. Hi everyone, thank you very much for coming back to my drawing studio. In this video, I like to share with you how to draw a traditional, based on the traditional Japanese architecture. Of course, it's not a replica, the exact of the Japanese traditional architecture, but rather to explore and to understand the basic shape, components, and material of the traditional Japanese architecture. And in this drawing, I'm going to draw the a single story, a combination of pitch and hip roof, a thatch roof of the Japanese architecture with timber cladding, a rice wallpaper for the wallings, and a cubic shaped, simple, traditional Japanese base architecture. And of course, I started with the cubic shapes, started with the vertical line, horizontal line, and find the center point as I am doing it right now, and indication of two sides of the elevations. First, I'm to find the to divide them into three faces. On this side, I'm going to create a diagonal line to find the center point. Cross line from one corner below to the top above, on the right above, and that give me the center point to divide them into three, and cross with the shape of upside down V shaped. Then to find the dot, that will be the first section, and the second and third one there. The reason is to allocate naturally using geometry to find to identify the structure to support this building. Not just about the drawing, but also to understand the structure component and the material component of the buildings. And now on the side elevations, and this one I'm going to divide them to five. Basically, going to be a 3-6 column with five faces in between. To do that, I'm going to repeat the same thing, but rather start more layer of this diagonal line to find the five faces on this side. Find at the center point there, then do the a V shape like this. But of course, I like to do it very linear, fine line, not to press my pen nib too hard. I don't want to dictate this facade with layers of lines. Right now, where the line crosses, there where the division will be, so there's a first phase, the location of the column, the second column there. And this one I'm not going to draw all the way to the top, because the center point, the horizontal center point, that will be the where the end of the wall and then the beginning of the roof eave. So that reason I don't need to put this vertical line all the way to the top of the cubic shapes, just to the center for now. And of course I'm going to mark them with this dot line so that I can remember, or I can see visibly where they are before they get lost in these layers, multi-layer of lines. The dot line on the back is just a reference lines to understand in three-dimensional shape of these cubes, and also to find the center point of that back side, the rear side, so I can connect that to the front side here like this. That is the reference of my pitch roof. This is the first one, is the main top is the pitch roof, and on the eave will be combined with the hip roof. But before that, I'm going to put the lines directly connected with the 5 vertical line that I did, that projected to the top of the roof like this. And again, second, to divide that hip roof and pitch roof into half and divide them to half again. This is just a reference for material texture as my drawing progressing. Right, the next one is I'm going to add more information on the wall. The top side there will be the frame between the end of the opening, windows, walling, to the ceiling, and of course the below here is the more open fences, just like one above the hip, and in between there will be wallpaper using rice paper that provide daylighting into the habitable space, interior space. And of course, rather than just one line, then I'm going to add a bit of a offset that each of that line to indicate the depth, the thickness, the width, the size of the columns, timber columns. Think about the traditional Japanese or mostly Eastern architecture. Things, buildings were made of entirely timbers, bamboos, natural material, nothing made of stone. Perhaps that was the reason why there is not much of the 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 years old building structures, because they're all made of natural material such as timber, as this. Timber natural don't last for thousands of years as stones. And the next one is the horizontal line to indicate that the beams in between of timber frames. So now I started with the framing, the structure framing, secondary structure, right there. The good thing about this, the drawing exercise, is simply drawing by understanding of the building structure. By adding them, give me the sense of understanding of how building works, not just drawing it the way it looks, but also to understand the structure works. Now, moving up onto the roof, the roofing, I like to add up, this will be the thatch roof material. So offset this without any geometry line, just simply offset that above the geometry line that I did, just to understand roughly the thickness of this thatch roof material. with a pitch roof. Of course, extend that line there to the top. So this will be the shape of the hip roof on the below on the eave of this roofing. This technique could be a lot clearer, but I do it like this for now. And of course a bit curvy upward on the that corner, like that. And I need to add more of these lines on the roof to keep a bit up, rather than just blank, to make it much more compact line, to indicate the tactility of the material property on the thatch roof. But simply drawing my line align with the existing line that I did at first. More of a parallel like this. I suppose the reason why there's a combination of pitch and hip roof together is when it comes to this Eastern or Japanese style architecture. It on the below is provide the shelter on for the heat to prevent it from rain or snows or sunlight or heat directly hit the wall, because as it is the wall are quite thin using the rice paper. And on top of that, with the pitch roof, it's more of a ventilation, I would say, ventilation and also daylighting coming from above, from the roof. I believe that was the purpose of it. It's all about functional rather than just a look. That's the beauty of the traditional architecture. So now on the slightly more information on the walling, I'm going to divide this into three, to indicate three vertical framing for this wallpaper. But the same techniques how I divide them, vertical or diagonal line to define the center point and divide them into three, like this. On this side, I'm going to divide into four, find the center point. Another center point of that, another center point of that, then two in each one, and four. And of course, the reason why, again, I divide them this way, to make them look right in proportion, in perspective, drawing in terms of proportions. Because the views are from the side rather than flat elevation. But on this one, it's quite simple. Just divide them to half using observation. half again to create a kind of four row. Now adding a bit more thickness of the timber framing rather than just one line. Start with the vertical framing, then of course the horizontal framing. And on this side too, again, indication of that vertical framing, and of course apply with the rest of them the same method. Now below here is this going to be a opaque solid timber framing, vertical. By dividing them into half and half and half. The same method to make the look compact. And on that top, on the pitch roof, just right above the hip roof below, indication of the timber framing, the structure frames to support the a bit detail, a bit more of information on the timber framing that support the straw, the thatch roof, and of course indication of this slightly opening. This, but I'm going to hatch them for now, vertical hatch. This will be the opening, usually for the ventilations or daylighting. Usually just a small gap between timber frames. Because in the old buildings, there will be a fire cooking in the house, and it warm up the inside during the winter, or could be used for cooking. So it is essential to have a exhaust opening or ventilation on the roof to allow those smokes coming out, and also to allow the exchange of warm and cold air to circulate within the building from the opening on the roof, and also to get rid of the bad smell from within. The next step is to hatch right below the overhangs roofing to keep a sense of shadow and depth, and also to accentuate the overhang of this roof if from the wall. And of course, starting with the dark side of it, the dark part, hatching between below the timber frames, and then this one. But this is going to be the opening. There's no there is no wall on there, just an opening to indicate what inside this building. And I'm going to hatch on this side of the part of the pitch roof suppose again the light's coming from the left side, and of course dark on the right side. A bit of a detail on that, timber frames. Again, hatch more on that. Because at this stage I have most of the information I needed in terms of building a component, structure, framing. For now, it's just about making this information into much more visible by hatching them, but of course with the understanding of where the light coming from. This is very important. Now it's about adding more of hatch under this timber framing, and on timber frame, the shadow of the timber frame against the rice paper. Usually they're using strong rice paper for the walling. So I believe in the traditional context of the Japanese wallpaper, I believe the reason why it was small and such a small frame at the beginning was because they were able to make such a small piece of wallpaper at a time, just like making glass windows in the West. So that was the reason, and also at the same time, with a small frame, it could be much more durable and stronger. I suppose those large pieces of wallpaper. So now I'm going to add more detail on that timber cladding. Of course on the side too, and of course again on the thatch roof. I'm going to hatch that right below the thatch roof, make it darker there to accentuate the thickness, the depth of this thatch roof material. I'm going to add more of that detail on this side too. Right, now more shadow there as well, because this is using a vertical line, simple vertical line. To make it much darker on this side.
No, que no.
In this process is about repeating the same techniques, because as I said on my previous drawing, I rather repeat the same process over and over. If not enough, I add more, rather than just do at one. Tend to do the at once with thick pen, it's turned out to be bad result on my drawings. Right, on this side too, I'm going to make it much darker on this side, right below the roof. So on this one, I want to make it, get a line to indicate where the end of that shadow of the roof against the wall. To give a bit of contrast between light and shed. I just like a bit of a horizontal line there to indicate the timber framing, and usually there to allow ventilation at the same time to prevent any kind of intruders such as animal birds to enter the buildings. And I'm going to put a cross hatch there to make it much darker on this side, to give this sense of thickness of this straw thatch roof section of that. Right, now is to indicate the right, give it a bit of line to give the sense of where the shadow, the end of the shadow of the roof against the wall, to give it, to accentuate the contrast between light and shadow on that one, rather than just all the same lines, the same darkness against the wall. Of course, finishing it with a cross hatch like this, just to make it clear between light and dark there. And on this side, I'm going reaching the final stage of this drawing now, where I'm going to add more hatch, much thicker line, just to finish them all by looking back. Right, in terms of shadowing, hatching, I think I'm quite happy with that. So the next one is to give a bit of a character on the roof. This is totally optional, but I noticed there are some beautiful thatch roof in some part of the world, and some of the very old traditional Japanese style. So I'm going to add that character on this roofing, just rather than just a flat roofing. I'm going to put a bit of a shape on that roofing there. By simply using the existing reference line that I did at the beginning. By doing that, I can hide those lines, so it's no longer visible, by simply utilize it into a purpose of the shape of this building, of this roofing, like this. There too. And I need to adjust on the side, that we just on the rear there, just the profiling to imitate, to replicate what's visible on the front side here. Yeah, just like that. So yeah, this will be the final stage of this drawing, on a bit more detail on the roofing. And of course this is optional, but this drawing is about exploring new techniques and also exploring that to understand how the building's component works. And of course I always like to add my own version on this drawing. And this is the final thing, crossing hatch. And yeah, this is my version of a traditional Japanese architecture. Thank you very much.